Hey guys, it's Shelby, otherwise known as Shelbizleee here on YouTube, and today I am so excited to finally be making this video because during the month of January I have been decluttering like a mad woman. I took on something called the Minimalism Challenge where you declutter something for every day of the month, if that makes sense. So basically on the 1st I decluttered one thing all the way up until the 31st where I decluttered 31 things. So I ended up decluttering over 500 things, probably well over 500 things, including all of these clothes here. You want to see them? All of these clothes here, I'm going to be decluttering these. I'm going to be selling these ones in particular on Poshmark. I had even more that I had to donate. So much for thinking I was a minimalist. This declutter challenge definitely taught me that I have some consumption habits that I didn't realize. I'll talk more about these clothes later, but definitely if you want to snag some of them, check out my Poshmark closet. It's going to be linked in the description. It's Shelbizleee, and I would love for you to tell me about your Poshmark closet because I just kind of cleaned up my closet and finally realized what type of clothes I actually like. So I'll definitely be going through and looking at some of your clothes in your closets, so leave your closet name in the comments. This video is sponsored by Poshmark. The app is completely free to download it, but we'll talk more about that in a little bit because yeah, I decluttered a lot more than just clothes. So I videoed this entire process over on my vlog channel. I showed you every single little thing that I decluttered over on the vlog channel. This video though is going to be telling you a little bit about what I learned through this declutter. As someone who has kind of thought of herself as a minimalist for the last couple years, it was very interesting to see how many things were hidden, how many things I didn't notice I was bringing into my house. It really taught me a lot, and so I wanted to tell you guys a lot about what I learned. And also through this process I learned a lot about how to declutter responsibly, so where to donate things, where to recycle things, all that sort of good stuff. So let's just go ahead and get into my best tips that I learned during this month of decluttering over 500 things. One of the first things I learned during this declutter is there's a recycling system for nearly everything. We didn't just get rid of traditional things during this declutter like clothing that you can sell or donate, but we also got rid of things like a really old mattress. We got rid of things like old craft supplies, leftover craft supplies, and we also got rid of things like cords and electronics. Decluttering in an eco-friendly, responsible ways requires you to think outside the box when you're throwing things away so that you're not just tossing them. You're actually making sure that they're going to a good home. So we looked up a mattress recycling facility. We were able to recycle our old mattress instead of just sending it to the landfill. It was far past donating quality. And then we got this awesome new mattress that I've talked to you guys about before. We also are able to recycle electronics at places like Best Buy. So they'll take most of the electronics that you might have sitting around your house that you didn't even know you had, because I didn't even realize we had these, but I made sure that we took them to Best Buy to dispose of them properly. I'm also lucky enough to have something called Austin Creative Reuse here in Austin, where I was able to take old craft supplies, leftover scrap fabric, and things like that, and then other creative type people can come in and buy those things to make their own stuff, so that that stuff isn't just going to waste, it isn't getting thrown out, and it isn't something that you could traditionally sell in a thrift store. So you don't want to be donating it just to a thrift store. You want to donate it or give it away or sell it to ensure it the best possible chance that it will actually get reused. The second tip I've learned throughout my years of decluttering is that it is better to give over an item to someone rather than to just donate it. This is because thrift stores and charity shops and things like that get really overwhelmed with all the donations they get, and your item might not even end up being put on the floor. But aside from that, if it does end up getting put on the thrift store floor, someone may not come along and pick it up. They may not like it. That's the reason I love working with Poshmark, because I can ensure that someone out there is going to get this item because they like it and they're actually going to use it. So I wanted to show you guys some of the things I decluttered. This is so much clothes. These are just the things that I felt like were worth taking the time to sell. I decluttered actually a lot more than just this stuff, but I have a variety of stuff more than just my size. I also have some things from Madison's size, some things I picked up at the thrift store along the way because I thought I was going to flip them, that sort of stuff. So I'll be listing all of this sort of stuff on my Poshmark. Things like this shirt from American Eagle, this top from Torrid. This one still has the tags on it. I thrifted this. I also found that I have a couple cardigans that are kind of like this one, so I'm gonna go ahead and pass this one off. It's really cute. So definitely go check out my Poshmark. Like I said, Poshmark is completely free to download. If you want to check it out, just click the link in the description, download it for yourself, and make sure you leave me your Poshmark closet because I'll talk about this a little bit later in the video. But I have finally figured out my style, and so I'm looking to replenish my closet a little bit after this declutter, and I'll be checking out your Poshmarks. So leave yours in the comments. Let me know what's your closet handle, and if you don't already have one, make it and leave it in the comments. Okay. Another thing you should keep in mind during your journey is that you can definitely give things away for free. So before you just toss something, if it isn't sellable in your eyes, or you don't want to take it to the thrift store or to donate it, there are definitely Facebook pages where you can post things for free, and there are also Craigslist, There is also Craigslist where you can post things for free. There's also the alternative of just putting it on your curbside if you live in a neighborhood where that sort of thing will work, and letting it go for free to someone who will actually use it instead of just tossing it. I'm standing in front of these shelves for a reason. These are the last of my decluttering that I have to get done. Someone is scheduled to come pick them up today. I am so excited to get rid of them because I have a few other things that I want to put here. I just got a new mirror for my birthday, so I'm going to be putting that here whenever these are gone, hopefully soon, but I'm just going to give them away for free. That is definitely a tip you can keep in mind whenever you're decluttering. There is always a last resort before just tossing something that's perfectly usable. Something else I learned during this challenge is that your tiny little space, no matter how small, how cluttered, how uninspiring it may be, with just a few changes, it can become something completely different. I used to look around my house and feel kind of ashamed of how it looked. And I know that might sound ridiculous, but when you live in a space and you work in a space and you do all of these different things in a space, you want it to be something that makes you happy when you look at it. That ugly red striped couch that I used to have, I've told you guys many times, but I hated it so much, and it made me feel like I couldn't do other things in my home, like record vloggy style type videos like I've been doing more recently, because I changed some things in my house. Now, that's not to say that the only thing that can change your space is getting a new couch. Of course, there are so many ways to make your space more inspiring, and getting rid of a ton of clutter around is definitely a way to do that. I have a few examples of how I did that fit into the other things that I learned through this journey, but that is a really important one. I used to think that I was just going to have to put off having a cute, inspiring home until I moved somewhere else, because I didn't think it was possible to do that in this space. But this challenge taught me that I was completely wrong about that, and I'm very grateful for that lesson. Another lesson I learned during this challenge is that you should aim to have empty closets and cabinets. It's so easy to put something in a closet or in a cabinet or in some kind of drawer and forget about it, or convince yourself that it's okay to keep it even though you don't use it, because it's that thing that's like out of sight, out of mind. I definitely learned that through this declutter, because if you can see in my kitchen, this is the extent of my kitchen, and we don't have any upper cabinets, as you can see. So everything we have basically lays out over this part of the cabinet, and there are a few pots and pans and stuff like that in the lower cabinets. But because we have such a small space, it reminds us that we don't need as much, because we don't have cabinets to just fill with things that we probably wouldn't end up using. So my advice is to aim for empty cabinets and empty closets, and then whatever you end up keeping will be something that you actually really need. But don't look in your cabinet and say, what should I get rid of? What can I get rid of? What don't I use? Because chances are, as long as it's closed away and you know that it can be closed away, you won't declutter as many things as you should, and you'll end up keeping a lot of stuff that you just don't need to keep around, cluttering up your space and your mind. Oh, Tippy, what in the world? Tippy decided he wanted to steal my spot, so we'll just sit here by him. Another important lesson that this declutter taught me is what my style actually is. Before that, I had this problem that I've talked to you guys about before. I call it the eco-minimalist problem. That the reason I am a minimalist is to create less of a demand in the production system for resources to be used to make things that I consume, including my clothing. So whenever you buy things secondhand, it essentially doesn't have an environmental footprint, because it's just reusing something that someone else didn't want. And that can be a really big trap when you're first coming to minimalism and you're trying to do it for the environment, because you end up collecting a lot more clothes than you thought you would. And I ended up getting rid of a lot more than 31 pieces of clothes, but I waited until the last day, the biggest day, to do my clothes, because I knew it would be where I got rid of most things. Getting rid of those things and keeping just the essentials that I wear on a regular basis has taught me what colors I like, what patterns I like, what fits I like, what looks best on me, and what I will wear on a regular basis if I have more things like that in my closet. So it's a super important lesson that I learned from this, and like I said, I definitely do want to be restocking my closet. I'll do that through a couple of online thrift stores, so I can be very targeted through things I want to bring back into my closet, and I'm gonna have to try to take a little bit of a step back to traditional thrifting, because it's clearly a problem for me, and this decluttering taught me that. So if you're looking to nail down your style, to kind of have more of a minimalist wardrobe, or just to have things in your closet that you love and will wear on a normal basis, decluttering your wardrobe with that in mind, with the mindset of finding what you wear the most, that you love the most, will probably help you narrow down what your style is, because it definitely did for me. We'll just stick it out here for lesson number 7, which is organization. So aside from just decluttering down to what I really loved and keeping that, I also now have a lot of things in my room organized. I don't have a closet and we have very little storage space for clothing, so it makes it hard to store everything the way I want. I am hoping to find some new shelves secondhand within the next month or so that I can organize things better, but organization is so important so that you see what you have, so you know what you do and don't need to buy at the thrift store, and just so you have a better idea when you wake up in the morning of what options you have. I used to take off my clothes, this is so embarrassing. I used to take off my clothes and put them in what Madison called Shelby's chair. It was literally my chair, just a chair full of clothes where I would throw my stuff when I took it off, because as you guys know, I don't wash my clothes after I wear them once, so they would end up in that chair and I would end up rummaging through it every time I needed to find something. I never knew what all the items were that I had, the items that I loved. It wasn't all visible to me. So I think organization is something super key to maintaining a minimal wardrobe and not buying things that you don't need because you don't realize what you already have. You may have seen this tub in a previous shot. That's because these are the clothes that are not making it to my Poshmark. These are things that I don't think are going to be worth selling, that maybe are not as valuable, that I'm going to take to donate. But the reason I have it in my hands to show you is because something I learned through this declutter is whenever you take things to the thrift store, you don't have to give them the tub or the box or the bag that you brought your stuff in. Because I had a few of these tubs like this, and as I was trying to get rid of things, including the tubs, I would take them to the thrift store and basically just let them have them and let them resell the tubs as well. But then I started running out of all of my tubs. I didn't have any more to take to the secondhand store, and I realized that whenever you get there, you can just ask them to dump this out. Just ask them to dump the contents out and say that you want your box back so that you can continue to take it to and from the thrift store. This also helps them when sorting, so they don't have to recycle your cardboard box or throw out your plastic garbage bags or anything like that. It just makes the process a lot easier. So definitely keep that in mind for when you're decluttering, because I don't know why, but it never crossed my mind until recently. Something else I realized during this declutter is that it is okay to leave walls blank. The wall behind me, you may have noticed because it's been in a lot of my videos. I normally stand in my videos a little bit that way, and you can always see this wall behind me. And you may have seen how it has transformed over the last several months from having a mat back there to having a key holder. There used to be a fire extinguisher actually over here, and I realized that I did that with a lot of areas in my home. You know, if there was a blank wall, I kind of looked for things to put up there. But you really don't need to do that. And through this declutter, I actually took off canvases from my wall, just trying to experiment and see what I would feel like if my walls were white. And it's crazy how much bigger my space feels and how much, I don't know what the word is for it. It's decluttered, but there's something else to it that makes it just feel more free? I don't know what the word is. My point is, we can always find something to put on our wall. We can always find something that we like. But I encourage you to look at your walls and see what you've hung up there just because you felt like you needed to hang something on your wall. Take it down for a few days and experiment with how you feel. Because this wall behind me, like I said, I've transformed a lot over the last few months, and I actually have been collecting a ton of baskets to make a basket wall back there. But after decluttering the wall itself and leaving it white over the course of this month, I'm really torn on if I even want to put up my basket wall because it just feels so, I guess the word is free. It feels amazing to have nothing on my walls. It just makes me feel so much more clear-headed. I don't know, maybe that sounds crazy, but if it does sound crazy, I encourage you just to try it and see what you think. The lesson here is, it is okay to leave your walls blank. And the last thing I learned during this declutter process on my journey to minimalism is that minimalism is not a destination, it is a journey. We live in a consumerist world, a world that is constantly... Did he just jump behind me? He did. You don't like it either, huh? You prefer a decluttered house. He agrees. I know a lot of you guys say that Tippy distracts you, but this was a really important message that I wanted to get through to you, is that minimalism is not a destination, it is a journey. We do not live in an anti-consumerist world. We do not live in a conscious consumer world. We live in a world that is constantly marketing to us to buy things that we may not even need. We might not even have wanted before we saw the advertisement. So please do not be discouraged by the word minimalism because it means something different to everyone. I truly believe that. So I do encourage you to take on the Declutter Challenge, maybe for the month of February, maybe for the month of March. I could probably keep this thing going, and I probably will keep decluttering things because it becomes addicting. Just getting rid of things make your space feel so much bigger and so much more open and so much more freeing and inspirational. I don't know, it's so weird. I didn't think that this would happen. Anyway, I'd love to hear any lessons that you've learned through decluttering, maybe in January or just in general on your road to minimalism. Don't forget to check out Poshmark. The app is completely free to download. You have nothing to lose and literally everything to gain. It's really helpful when you guys support the companies that support me because it allows me to make more content like this, and also inevitably allows me to make even more unsponsored content when you support the sponsors that I do have. That's all. Thank you guys so much for watching. Remember, until next time, you cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good that you can do. Bye, guys.